And it's given me the ability to have grace towards people.
Absolutely.
I think that's important in this moment.
Yes,
that
it is.
you understand that, you know, what we present as truth may be true, but how long it takes me to get there, right? Determined sometimes by whether or not we're willing to be gracious with each other.
Yes.
Right.
But that's the word, is grace. Even when we disagree, give each other grace, because we come at life through our roots. We have not all had the same lived experiences. And you also have to respect that everyone does not have the level of confidence or fearlessness. Some people see you, Gary, and you make them stronger. They have to, like, it's like working out at the gym and you get somebody in front of you who just going hard, and you start catching their rhythm. I think what we have to understand is that some people do not come in the world equipped to be a fighter, but they learn how to be a fighter by watching other people.
I think the other thing in that is that we don't all have to be fighters.
We don't all have to be fighters. We don't all have to do the same thing.
We don't all have to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
I wish so deeply that we understood that everybody has a role.
Absolutely.
And that if your role is entrepreneurship and business, right, that I should listen to you as a subject matter expert for what is happening in that area and how we best serve that area. When we talk about public policy, we should listen to the people who are the subject matter experts there. You may have some ideas, some perspectives, some strategy that can enhance what whichever group says. But I think that when we recognize that she has a role, he has a role, and let people do what they are good at, that's building an ecosystem, though. That is building community.
That's community.
You know, it is the policing and the micromanaging of other people's jobs that I think is what keeps us in so much conflict. That if you were focused on how you're supposed to show up and doing that every day, you don't necessarily need to nudge this person every step of the way, because like you said about people being challenged to work out harder, they'll also be challenged to like navigate with more integrity. Because if I'm around these folks and they keep showing up this way, I got to figure out how do I show up this way.
But in all of that, though, we also can't police each other's lanes. And we can't decide that, oh, Key's good at this, so she's the only one that can do it. Nobody else can come. I think there's a sense of exclusion that we create in our community that's harmful to us as well. Just because you don't know a person doesn't mean that person's not qualified to do a thing. So we have to get outside of our friend groups, because we've seen the same people get called over and over and over again. You and I have had these conversations a lot. Just because it's the same person getting called doesn't mean that there are more people that can get into that lane and these people can work together. So I think we have to open ourselves.
You know, I think if we learn something from these last few elections, is that what we have tried was not working.
It's not working.
So we must be willing to bring in new voices, new people, new ideas, new strategies. I keep harping on the word strategy because I think I get frustrated that sometimes I feel like we're just not being strategic.
Yes.
It is not that we don't have good ideas. It is not that we are not leaning in the right direction, but are we being thoughtful about each move? You know, and I can say this as somebody who's been an advocate that experienced a lot in public, right? I said a lot of things because I was informed and I was truthful about what was taking place, right? But was my approach always the most strategic? I can reflect and say no. Right?
That's leadership, though.
Because there are things that now, when you get relationship, you pick up the phone and you figure out, how can I avoid this being a crisis in my community? So sometimes people may say, this person is less vocal today because maybe they're being strategic today. Everybody who ain't talking ain't scared.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I'm going to say it one more time.
And everybody who's talking is not right. Just
let that rest in the atmosphere.
But you're spot on. Everybody who's not talking does not mean that they don't have something to say, and that they're not thinking about something, that they're not planning things. I call these people observers. And it is a gift in being able to be an observer, to sit at a table and watch everybody around that table listen, and then be able, at the end of that meeting, you have discerned the who's and the who are not. And I think that power of knowing when to speak, when not to speak, is a level of mental strength that we don't give people enough credit for.
I served on a board with an older sister who, every time we had a meeting, she read every piece of paper that those folks gave us.
Wow.
And if you needed to know something, if you ain't informed, she got the answer. She's read it.
Yes.
Okay. She didn't talk a lot in meetings.
Yeah.
But prior to the meetings, there was always a lot of conversation where we were understanding what we were going to do in the room.
Mm-hmm.
After the meeting, there was always some conversation about how we going to navigate the next time we in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But what helped us was a little sister who don't say much in the room, but she got all the information.
Yes.
She's read every person's bio that came in this door, their background, their resume. She knows what they're coming in here to talk to us about. And she reading their body language while they're talking to us. So while you may be hyped up, feeling a certain thing, she done read the whole room.
Yes.
To see who not going to vote with you the next time. Who's not supportive of this, so you can go have lunch with them next week so you can make them supportive by whatever means that is, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that we are being thoughtful in that way about everybody's role, because if this sister's talking, is she listening?
Is she listening? Is she listening? And looking at that woman, she is often likely overlooked because we have her in every community. We have her in Atlanta. When we start thinking about building an all-star team in cities and towns, in rural areas and urban areas, we need to start thinking about how to build an all-star team and have her. Have the person that will get up there and speak all the time, the person that's going to keep immaculate notes. Because in order for us to be able to build a community that we know that we must have right now, it's going to take people with different strengths, different gifts, and people who can recognize what their weaknesses are. But this is the time for community.
I agree. So what are your hopes in this moment?
Yeah, I will tell you this. I am so motivated by this moment. I am motivated because I know who we are and I know whose we are. I also know that the strength of our ancestors is what's bracing us for this moment. So what I'm hopeful is that we recognize our power, that we have the stamina to see it through, and that we have the conviction that just because it may not be operating the way that you want it to, doesn't mean it's not operating. So I'm hoping that we have patience. And patience patience takes wisdom to know that the outcome is not like this time that we're in now when things are so quick. Microwave generation, instant gratification. What we are experiencing now did not happen quickly. This was time, over meeting after meeting after meeting, refining after refining after refining. Our response to this is going to take that level of diligence. And what I'm hopeful for is that we're willing every day to be committed to what this time is calling us to respond to. And also, I hope we know, the hope is that it is a privilege to answer the call. What about you?
I am hopeful that more of us will see. I think that a lot of us have had blinders on for whatever reason. This climate allows more people to take the glasses off and look around. I am hopeful that on the other side of this, we have stronger communities, stronger businesses, stronger relationships, that the story that we tell is the next great renaissance for Black America. That this dip that we see today, Sean King gave this speech years ago, and he talked about the dips and rises in history. And what he was saying is after every great moment comes a dip. And he was illuminating how Obama was a great moment. And now we're in a dip. But what we do in this dip I think matters. And I'm hopeful that we're going to do what's right, because there are people who are speaking on these subjects now that you probably never would have expected to be leaning in. I saw people finding ways to creatively get involved in the conversations, who are comedians, who are entertainers, who have never talked about politics before, never really talked about any of these things, but are now finding out, how do I tip my toe in this water because it matters, and recognizing that we all have a role to play in this moment and to play it.
Absolutely. But I think what we both know, that when we participate intentionally, we will get the outcomes that we want.
We will. Thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.